Welcome to the Virtual Ball Boys podcast. My name is Chris, and I'm joined once again by my good friend, Matt.
Have you heard of the four-color map theorem?
No, I have not.
So, the four-color map theorem, it's a math thing. It basically says that any map can be colored using only four colors or less, so that no adjacent regions are the same color.
Okay.
You only need four colors for any map that exists.
I guess I'm a little confused. Like, why? Like, you couldn't do 50 different colors?
You could, but they're not needed. Is what the theorem says. Like, if you wanted to use as few colors as possible
to distinguish between like regions.
So like if you look at like the 50 states, just as an example, you only need four colors to cover all 50 states.
Okay.
Or 48 states. So that there are two colors, so the two colors don't so that the same color is not next to each other.
But why four?
That's just how the math works out.
But like what math? That's like like because why is it not 3 or 5?
Well, okay, so let's take a look at everyone at home and Chris pull up a map of the United States.
Okay.
Preferably one that you can see the state outlines.
Okay.
See all the different states. Now, one of these maps you choose probably has more than four colors, and that's okay. That's not the point I'm trying to prove. Okay. Let's take a look at where would be a good place. Take a look at Kentucky.
Okay.
Actually, this map I'm looking at does have does oblige by the four colors one. But if you take a look at Kentucky, and let's say you color Kentucky green.
Okay.
You can color Illinois orange. You can color Indiana yellow. You can color Tennessee red. But you don't have to put orange, like, you don't have to put anything around, like, Illinois orange. You can make Ohio orange, and that touches Kentucky, but, like, if you look at Kentucky, Tennessee, Missouri, Illinois, if you make all four of those a different color, if Missouri is yellow, just as an example, Indiana can also be yellow. Okay. Kentucky, Illinois, and Tennessee cannot be yellow, nor can anything around Missouri, but Indiana can be, because Indiana doesn't touch Missouri.
All right, so what I'm getting from this, I kind of get it. I think that it seems like it's like if you're looking at a region and like regions that border things, I guess 4 would make sense, because if you're just looking at like one state and there's more than 4 regions touching that state, like those regions don't all touch each other either. Like if that makes any sense, like that.
Exactly.
Like it's so that's how the color. Okay.
Where if you look at where, I'm trying to think of this place. If you look at like Delaware, and if you only had 3 colors, let's say you only had red, blue, and green. If you made Delaware red, you made Pennsylvania blue, you made New Jersey green, Maryland could be green. This might have been the best location, but Maryland could be green. West Virginia could be red. Virginia could be blue. As you kind of branch out, it gets harder and harder to kind of fit things in, where you would need more than 3 colors.
All right, and where did you learn this?
From a YouTube channel about mathematics.
All right, cool. You want to give him a shout out?
Numberphile.
Okay.
Yeah.
Look up Numberphile for these zesty facts.
Yeah, just look at that one video. Only look at the rest of the channel if you're interested in math, but the 4-color theorem is fucking wild.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. I don't think I've ever felt so educated after an intro from you.
That, you know what?
Most of these intros tend to be not as enlightening, maybe surprising, but enlightening. And like,
in fact, most of the intros probably make you dumber.
We instead of regressing, we have advanced society today as podcasters. Anyways,
I've told you what the 4-color theorem is.
Welcome everyone to the podcast. So we are. It's a busy week. It is the second to last week before the playoffs. We are really getting close now. And we're, of course, on the cusp of the holiday season, so happy holidays, everyone. And so this is, we are definitely looking forward to that, and the best thing about holidays is that there's going to be bowl games being played. We're going to talk about that a little bit later, because we promised we're going to pick every single bowl game, and we're going to keep that promise today. But the first thing that we're gonna do is we got the Pro Bowl rosters were announced. I forgot that this thing was even happening. I forgot that Pro Bowls were a thing. So we decided, all right, let's look at the roster and let's just pick a few players that we think probably should have made it, maybe over some players that are currently there. So Mr. Matt, if you could tell me who is the NFC teams.
All right, so NFC at just going off of NFL's website. At wide receiver, we have Julio Jones, Michael Thomas, Mike Evans, and Chris Godwin. A very NFC South Christmas.
Yes.
At tackle, David Bakhtiari, Tyron Smith, and Taron Armstead. At guard, Zach Martin, Brandon Brooks, and Brandon Scherf. At center, Jason Kelce and Travis Frederick. At tight end, George Kittle, of course, and Zach Ertz. Quarterback, Russell Wilson, Drew Brees, and Aaron Rodgers. Running back, Dalvin Cook, Christian McCaffrey, Zeke Elliott. And then fullback, Kyle Juszczyk.
Yeah.
Should we let's just talk about the offense, and then how about we trade off offense and then we trade off defense and then special teams?
Yeah, that works.
So
that way
you're
not reading reading
yeah.
all of it. I get
reading
it. Yeah.
So
the defense has for defensive end we have.
Wait, no. I want to talk about like just the
offense. Sorry, I was confused about how you wanted to approach this.
So you're going to do the AFC offense next, but I want to just.
Oh yes.
Is there anything that you want to note about the NFC offense?
You know what? It's the most I think divisive in terms of the quarterback selections this year.
I agree.
Because so I think that we could say Russell Wilson was a safe pick for that.
I'm fine with that.
I think that Drew Brees, even though he was injured, he came in. He's had a pretty decent year, so he's not as divisive. I think the divisive one really is Aaron Rodgers, and it's not to say, again, Aaron Rodgers is consistent and he's played relatively well, but he hasn't really been amazing this year. And you look at two gentlemen that were left out of this group in Kirk Cousins and Dak Prescott. Who I think for a lot of people in terms of the statistic angle of things, and just generally how they've tried to play this year, have played better than Aaron Rodgers.
Definitely, they have been playing much better. I feel like, and I especially feel like, and I've caused some like arguments with you on this, but Aaron Rodgers usually is the like, at least recently has been just the centerpiece of Green Bay's offense, and right now I think that's Aaron Jones.
Yeah, he's not. I mean, although Aaron Jones has not really played that well lately either.
Yeah, but still, Aaron Rodgers is not like. I think Aaron Rodgers is getting in more on name than on how he's done this year. Even like as controversial as he is, Jameis Winston is like on pace to break a yardage record, and could also like be in that consideration. And I would put Jameson over Rodgers just because, like, you're gonna break a yardage record.
It's the turnovers that are keeping him out of the Pro Bowl. But yeah, I agree though. I think that I would say that the hard thing about Green Bay, we'll talk about this later too when we talk about in terms of picking the games. Green Bay just generally has just not been that great of team as of late, and they've played a lot of crappy teams and played down to those crappy teams, and their only test in recent weeks has been San Francisco, and San Fran completely destroyed them. And this offense is just not playing that well, nor is the defense is like okay, but it hasn't really been playing out outstanding either. So it's just everything about this team is just kind of like mediocre, even though it's weird to say that for 11-3 team, but that's just kind of how it is for them. And so Rodgers just kind of gets stuck in that. With that said, I mean, I look at the rest of this and I think pretty fair across the board. I can't really speak to offensive lineman at the moment, but I think George Kittle is the best tight end in football right now. I think chose a good year to break out. Because now we've needed a new Rob Gronkowski, and now that's our new tight end to root on, for Kittle. Yep. And good for Tampa Bay, man. I mean, Mike Evans and Chris Godwin, unfortunately, probably neither will play because both got injured. But that's a great wide receiver duo and could establish a future, a good future for them in that group.
Totally agree. All right. Do you want to continue NFC or do you want to switch over to AFC offense?
I like this format. We'll do AFC offense.
Cool.
We'll start out with the quarterback, Lamar Jackson, Patrick Mahomes, Deshaun Watson. Running back, there's Nick Chubb, Derrick Henry, and Mark Ingram. At fullback is Patrick Ricard. Wide receiver, DeAndre Hopkins, Keenan Allen, Jarvis Landry, and Tyreek Hill. Got tight end and Travis Kelce and Mark Andrews. Offensive tackle, Ronnie Stanley, Larry Tunsil, and Trent Brown. Offensive guard, Marshall Yanda, Quentin Nelson, and David DeCastro. And center, Marquise Pouncey and Rodney Hudson. And when I look at this group, I immediately, what's really great to me, and I haven't really watched this, I haven't watched Saturday Night Live a lot this year, but I was in the room during one of their opening sketches, I think recently, where Kenan Thompson was like praying to God, or saying grace at the dinner table, and he was just like, "Thank you, Lord, for letting 3 black quarterbacks beat Tom Brady this year." I was just like, yes. But I think it is kind of like, I don't think that this is the case. Because maybe there is historical, there's probably better people who might be able to say historically about this, but it's really great to see, that it's black quarterbacks across the board for the AFC team.
Yeah. Having this be like the 3 I don't know what you would call them, just like the faces of the new guard of the NFL.
Yeah.
Too,
is
awesome.
Absolutely. Yeah,
no more Brady, Big Ben, and Manning. It's Jackson, Watson, Mahomes.
Yeah, I mean that's what we're trying to. This is it's like our preview into the next however many years, because it is going to be between those 3 teams. I think all 3 of them are going to continue to be in the mix because of these 3 guys. So yeah, I think that really stands out to me.
Any snubs that you can think of?
For the AFC, I thought about, on the running back side, I thought about Josh Jacobs, because he played relatively well with Oakland, and he's been injured the last few weeks, but he has constantly been an X factor for this team and has played very well. And I think he deserves
offensive rookie of the year nods for sure.
No, yeah, and I mean, I think Mark Ingram's played a phenomenal year. I do think, though, that you can make the argument that you put Josh Jacobs in there outside of him.
I would also give a nod to Austin Eckler. Like, not a huge one, but Austin Eckler, when he plays and when he's the main focus, was playing pretty damn well.
He's one of the best. Chris Wessling said this, but he's one of the best pass catching running backs that the league's ever seen. And that's very weird for like a
Melvin Gordon is not going to be on the Chargers next
year.
Well,
that's basically he's been a detriment to the team, Melvin Gordon. And I think, though, I think the only other thing I would say about the running backs in this group, I would put Derrick Henry as the starter over Nick Chubb. Not that Nick Chubb Nick Chubb has a great year, and that obviously it really does not freaking matter. I mean, you're a Pro Bowler no matter what. But
yeah,
I think who's the best running back in the AFC? I think it's Derrick Henry right now.
It's Derrick Henry. Nick Chubb had the better start to the year, but Derrick Henry has been consistent, and then like has dominated
Mm,
since Tannehill took over.
yeah, he's been phenomenal. So I definitely that. And everything else pretty straightforward. I don't see anything major. Wide receiver, pretty I think solid group,
Yep.
overall. And yeah, looks good. What's
All
happening
right.
in the NFC defense?
On our defense, we have Cameron Jordan, Nick Bosa, and Danielle Hunter on defensive end. For linemen, Aaron Donald, Fletcher Cox, and Grady Jarrett.
Mhm.
Outside linebacker, Chandler Jones, Khalil Mack, and Shaquille Barrett. Inside linebacker, Bobby Wagner and Luke Kuechly. Cornerbacks, Marshawn Lattimore, Richard Sherman, Darius Slay, and Jalen Ramsey. Free safeties, Buda Baker and Eddie Jackson. And then strong safety, Harrison Smith.
Yeah,
Seems pretty stout across the board, I think.
yeah, I think that some of these guys, I kind of look at Mac right now, and not to completely go off like down on Mac, but he has just been so quiet in
Oh
recent
no,
times.
I was gonna say the same thing, like getting him more on name than anything. I
Yeah,
also watch every game, and he's double teamed every game, which is why he hasn't been doing
well,
anything.
that's a fair thing to say too, because it
Yeah,
is it's true. He's kind of that is the hard part about you know. I guess just I think the defense just generally is the harder thing for voters, for public voters to vote on, because it is such an offensive minded league. And
mm,
I think when you think of a name recognition, Khalil Mack is there. I mean, I think that you have a few guys on the Minnesota's linebacking core, that could have been chosen for that. So there's a few other guys, but who I'm surprised, who I think everyone would be surprised to see, but before the season, but are not surprised considering his production, and we bring him up a lot. But Shaquille Barrett just continues to, he's leading the league in sacks still. He's
yeah.
playing it. He's signed on a 1 year deal for Tampa Bay, and he's been a monster for them, and he's now going to be a part of the franchise cornerstone for the Tampa Bay moving forward. So it's great, and that he's
It's
been
also
good.
nice to see Nick Bosa there.
Yes, yeah, I think that is well deserved. He's been one of the most dominant defensive players there lately. So very fitting. And another one that I think got on name recognition. I'm not going to be able to step up and say who who I'd replace him with, but Jalen Ramsey, he's played all right. I think
Yeah,
that I think that like when he moved to the Rams, like it did boost him a little bit, but the secondary, like the passing defense for the Rams was like it hasn't been amazing. Like I think that he kind of was judged on like a few games with the Rams where he played like well, but not he
yeah.
hasn't been amazing either. So that's just another one that I throw out there. Um, what about the defense? Or I guess
You're doing that.
I'm doing the AFC defense. Defensive end Joey Bosa, Frank Clark, and Calais Campbell. Defensive tackle Cameron Hayward, Chris Jones, and Geno Atkins. Outside linebacker Von Miller, T.J. Watt, and Matthew Judon. Inside linebackers Darius Leonard, Dante Hightower. Your quarterbacks Stephon Gilmore, Tre'Davious White, Marcus Peters, and Marlon Humphrey. Then you got Minka Fitzpatrick and Earl Thomas for free safety, and strong safety is Jamal Adams. What do you think?
Again, kind of the same thing. A lot of big names, a lot of players playing really well. Minka Fitzpatrick is a great choice on here.
Mm-hmm.
Same with Tre'Davious White, T.J. Watts, and Cameron Hayward have been playing super well. Like just like those three Steelers I just named. Obviously, there was one Bill in there, but those three Steelers I just named are like the reason that the Steelers are in the playoffs right now.
Certainly, certainly.
Yeah,
I if I'm gonna pick one guy that I'm like maybe doesn't need to be there, and nothing against him, he's a great player. But Earl Thomas, I don't need to see him on here. I would prefer Tyrann Matthew. I think
yeah,
that he's played much better. It makes the Chiefs. We've been worried about their defense, but one thing that has really been evident lately, well, first of all, their defense has played better as of late, but I think their pass defense has been very, very good, and I
oh,
think one of the main
definitely.
reasons that they were able to beat New England, and so, and big part of that was Matthew. So I would I would put him in. I think I'm happy that Darius Leonard got in this year because that was the big. A lot of people were very annoyed that he did not get his due, and I think he ended up. Did he end up winning Rookie of the Year last year?
I want to say yes.
Hold on. Yes, yeah, he won Defensive Rookie of the Year, and like he didn't make the Pro Bowl. It was one of the most stupidest things I've ever seen. When it comes to these Pro Bowl votes, but he got his due this time around. Relatively. I look at the cornerbacks, and I look at Gilmore, and I look at White, and I find that those are your two best corners in the league right now. If we're gonna have an honest conversation about who the best two corners in the league are, that's him right there. Those two have been really carrying the day on that front. So, definitely well deserved. But look at Baltimore, man. They have the most selections ever in a Pro Bowl in terms of like just right out of the gate with 12, and 2 quarterbacks are on here for Baltimore. Like it's wild, it's insane.
Yep. Good morning, Baltimore.
Yeah. Yeah. A little Hairspray reference, a little bit.
Hairspray, yep. I think those are close to the notes.
You got it. Yeah, I can attest to it. I've seen Hairspray many times. All right, what's
special teams?
Yeah, the big category.
Yep. Will Lutz, our kicker. Rick Lovato, the long snapper. Tressway, the punter. Wow, Washington got a player on here. Return specialist Deontay Harris and special teamer Cordero Patterson.
Yeah. Well,
my personal story. My dad's favorite player on the Bears right now is Cordero Patterson.
Yeah, he's. I mean, but Patterson's always been fun. Because. Yeah, go ahead.
It's because of how big he is and how fast he moves.
Oh, absolutely. He's never been like the best player on a team, and he's never really like been like out of this world where everyone's talking about him. But he's like always one of the most fun players to watch whenever he's like has the ball. It's great. One thing to note that there was 2 Washington players on this list. The other one was offensive guard Brandon Sheriff. I think Will Lutz deserved it of this list. I think that he's been right behind Tucker in recent years as being one of the most consistent kickers. It kind of helps that he plays in the dome most of the time, but regardless, we'll ignore that for the sense that he's been a good kicker. I think that's pretty much covers that group on that front. I don't have any. I was gonna be very hard to think of a special team snub in this regard. But AFC, the punter is Brett Kern. The place kicker is Justin Tucker. The return specialist is Mecole Hardman. Special teams is Matthew Slater. And long snapper is Morgan Cox. Also Baltimore. Man, Baltimore got fucking lucky breaking that record by having their fucking long snapper be selected for the Pro Bowl. But, and just the only note I could say of this group is, like, Tucker's obvious, but Hardman, it's interesting to me how he still made the Pro Bowl, even though he was expected to start in place of Tyreek Hill, if Hill was going to be out of the league, and obviously he's not, and Tyreek Hill is in the playoffs, but he is in the Pro Bowl rather.
Pro Bowl.
But Mecole Hardman, he still has a pretty good year, and he still gets in playoffs into the Pro Bowl, and he's the return specialist for this team. So it's just it's worked out perfectly for them that happened. And the other thing I was gonna say, I guess in general, Ravens had 12 players selected, which we just talked about. The next best was New Orleans Saints with 7. And in terms of the worst teams, it was the Dolphins and it was the Giants.
None.
Absolutely no players selected.
Was anyone selected as alternate?
So, the alternates don't come out, I don't think. I mean, they haven't. I
saw the Bears ones.
Some teams like release them in press release, but they're not. The problem is that like they're never really heavily publicized outside of like the team accounts because it's it's just kind of like they don't end up making the Pro Bowl if they're some of them do because of the replacements for people with injuries or people who play on the Super Bowl and stuff like that, but this is for the most part like that they don't get widely publicized until they're actually in the playoffs. So I don't know as of right now what the situation with the Giants or Dolphins are in terms of what Pro Bowl. I could probably look that up real quick while we accept the next segment. But
either way, Giants and Dolphins, nobody, even Washington, even Cincinnati got a player in.
Yep. Yeah, it's
Geno Atkins.
Yeah. He's just always great, but like he's been playing with a really shitty team. Right. I'm looking at least I'm looking at the Giants Twitter account, and I don't see anything right now in terms of Pro Bowl. It would be funny if they just completely ignored it. Felt like that was very, very fitting. For them.
We should probably move on to the next segment because we're half an hour in.
But that's basically that. That's the Pro Bowls. All right. Next up, it is bowl season, my friends. That when this first gets uploaded at noon, a few hours later, we'll kick off the first bowl game in the Bahamas Bowl. And it'll be going from December 20th all the way through January 6th. For at least the regular bowls, and then the national championship would be January 13th. We are not as much experts in college football as we are in NFL football, but we're going to do our best to pick the best teams that we can in our Bowl Mania selections. And so we're going to start with the Makers Wanted Bahamas Bowl. As you can guess, it's played in the Bahamas. It's one of the few games that get played outside the United States for college football. Buffalo Bulls against the Charlotte 49ers. Who do you got, Matt?
Bulls.
I got Bulls as well.
Next up, the Tropical Smoothie Cafe Frisco Bowl. Utah State Aggies versus Kent State Golden Flashes.
The Frisco Bowl. I think it used to be in the Cotton Bowl. I think they're moving it this year. Utah State.
I'm gonna go Kent State.
Kent State? Okay.
Yep.
Sounds good. Celebration Bowl, the battle between historically black colleges. Alcorn State against North Carolina A&T Aggies. What do you got for this one?
The second one's name is too long, so Alcorn State.
North Carolina A&T for me. I'll go with the Aggies.
Okay. New Mexico Bowl, the Central Michigan Chippewas versus the San Diego State Aztecs.
Yes. I will go with San Diego State in this one.
Even though San Diego isn't a state, I'll still go with them.
Yes. Next up, the FBC Mortgage Cure Bowl between Liberty Flames and Georgia Southern Eagles, rather.
Yeah, fuck Liberty, Georgia Southern.
Yeah, fuck Liberty, Georgia Southern.
Yep.
Next up.
The Sharabundi Boca Raton Bowl. Ooh. SMU Mustangs versus Florida Atlantic Owls.
I absolutely hate teams that get to play in their home stadiums or bowl games, and Florida Atlantic gets this opportunity. So fuck you, I'm picking SMU.
Okay, I know where you're going later. Florida, no, you're doing this one. I'm also going to do SMU.
Oh, okay. Yeah, because I was waiting for your pick. That's
because
why.
Horse.
Yes, the Camilla Bowl. This is the one of those games where I still don't entirely know where they play this, but whatever. Florida International at Arkansas State. What do you got?
I'll go Arkansas State.
Yeah, I'll go Arkansas State as well.
Number 19, Boise State Broncos take on the Washington Huskies in the Mitsubishi Motors Las Vegas Bowl. I wonder where that one's at.
Yes, in Las Vegas. That bowl is moving to the new Raiders Stadium when it's all said and done. But I think this could be the last matchup, and what a matchup. Chris Pearson playing his former team. I'm going with my team, Boise State, to win this one.
Hell yeah, Boise State. I like Washington a lot, but Boise State, you got to go with the blue field.
Yes. The blue field power will travel with them into Las Vegas, as they always does with that team. Next up, the R&L Carriers New Orleans Bowl. Appalachian State UAB Blazers in the Superdome. What do you got?
I know one of the directors of bands at Appalachian State, so I'm going to go with them.
Yeah, I'm going to go with them as well. Played well this year. Next up,
USC Knights, the true national champions, before this year versus the Marshall Thundering Herd.
The Gasparilla Bowl used to be played on
Oh,
on a very filthy looking bowl field in Tampa Bay, but then got moved to the Tampa Bay Buccaneers Stadium. So I'm very upset. But UCF Knights, I'll go with them.
Me too. It's also the best bowl name in Bad Boy Mowers, Gasparilla Bowl.
Of course. Yeah. Have you ever seen the images of like the giant inflated bulldog and the guy on the and, like, one of the reporters on the mower? It's great. It's good television. That's for sure. Next up, the Sophie Hawaii Bowl. Hawaii playing at home again. What do you got?
I'll stick with Hawaii.
I actually did pick Hawaii for this. I just wanted to really rant about how stupid it is that these teams get home field advantage during bowl season. Next up.
Plus, I don't trust the Mormons.
No.
That's not the one.
Next up. Wow.
Walcott's Independence Bowl. Louisiana Tech Bulldogs versus Miami Hurricanes.
This is another one I'm forgetting where all these bowls are played right now, but listen, I'm obsessed with bowl season, so I should fucking know.
Okay.
Louisiana, I'm going to go with Louisiana Tech because Miami has been just absolutely spiraling at the end of the season, so I'm going to go Louisiana Tech.
I'm going to go with Miami because Louisiana Tech was the team that Illinois faced when I was in the bowl game, and I hate them. So Miami.
And just to clarify, when he says he was in the bowl game, he's in the marching band at the bowl game.
I was in the marching band that went to the bowl.
Not
went
actually,
to the bowl game.
Not
I did
actually
not play
playing
football.
Yeah, he's not playing football for them. Anyways, the Quick Lane Bowl in Detroit. Pittsburgh Panthers against Eastern Michigan Eagles. What do you got?
I'm going to go with Pittsburgh.
Yeah, I'm going Pittsburgh too, although Eastern Michigan, they're going to have something to say about it in Eastern Michigan.
Yep.
Next up.
North Carolina Tar Heels versus Temple Owls in the Military Bowl by Northrop Grumman.
Oh, yeah.
That's the worst bowl name.
Northrop Grumman also, not to really sidetrack, but Northrop Grumman is responsible for all the contamination on Long Island. It's great.
Oh.
It is. Oh, I have a lot of stories to tell you.
And of course he does his thing after the name of the bowl. Oh, it sucks.
Yeah, it's not good. It's not good at all. I'm gonna go North Carolina, but I really want to pick Temple for this one. I'm
gonna pick Temple because I hate North Carolina.
Yeah,
so.
I'm gonna go North Carolina just because Mac Brown's been fun. Next up, the New Era Pinstripe Bowl, right next door to me. I was really hoping Illinois would be in this matchup. No,
Me too.
No, Michigan State and Wake Forest, one of like the least appealing matchups I've seen for this bowl game. What do you got?
I'm gonna when in doubt, I go Big Ten, so Michigan State.
I'm gonna go Wake Forest. I just think with Michigan State, they're another team that just floundered near the end. So, Wake Forest. Next up,
they lost to Illinois of all teams. Next up, Oklahoma State Cowboys, Texas A&M Aggies in the Academy Sports and Outdoors Texas Bowl.
Yeah, I just remember this name, Chuba Hubbard. Oklahoma State will win.
I'll go Oklahoma State too, just for that reason.
just solely for that. The SD County Credit Union Holiday Bowl played in the old San Diego Stadium. I don't know how long that fucking stadium's gonna last. But it's USC versus Iowa. What do you got?
Iowa.
I'm going Iowa as well.
I hate Iowa, but I hate USC more. So.
Yes, that's fine.
Okay, Air Force Falcons versus Gardner Minshew's alma mater in the Cheez-It Bowl.
Yes. This was the
Washington
best.
State.
Yes, this was the best bowl last season, and for that reason alone, I'm picking Air Force to pull some strings.
I'll go Washington State.
Okay. The Camping World Bowl in Orlando, Notre Dame versus Iowa State. What do you got?
I'm actually going to go with Iowa State.
I'm going with Iowa State as well.
Little surprise.
Yes, I like Iowa State. I'll go with them.
I don't like Notre Dame. Next up, Memphis Tigers versus the Penn State Nittany Lions in the Goodyear Cotton Bowl Classic.
There's your first New Year's Six Bowl. I want to go with Memphis Tigers. I'm gonna go with Penn State just because they don't have Memphis Tigers lost their coach and he's not coming back.
Yep. We'll go with Penn State as well.
Yep. The first of the two playoff games, the Oklahoma Sooners versus the LSU Tigers. Who do you got for this one?
LSU Tigers, easy.
I think this is a fair. I think they're gonna run all over Joe Burrow, the future Cincinnati Bengal, the Tiger becoming a Tiger. I'm going with LSU as well.
Yep. On the other side, the other Tigers in the PlayStation Fiesta Bowl, Clemson.
Yes.
Y'all notice how many teams have Tigers as their mascot, especially SEC teams?
Yeah, I don't.
There are 3 SEC teams with Tigers. There's Mizzou, there's LSU, there's Auburn. And then there's Clemson just like right over there. It's like, oh, hello, I'm a Tiger too. Clemson's facing Ohio State. What you got?
This was a rematch of the 31-0 game in the PlayStation Fiesta Bowl 3 years ago. It all comes back around. I think Clemson takes care of business again.
I'm gonna keep with Big Ten winning everything.
Okay, so Ohio State. All right, cool. Next up, the Serpro First Responder Bowl. Will this game be played this year? Who knows? What do you think's gonna happen?
I think this was what the bowl that I went to turned into.
Yep. It used to be the Heart of Dallas Bowl.
It was the Zaxby's Heart of Dallas Bowl when I was there. Yep. I'm gonna go with Western Michigan.
I'm gonna stick with Western Kentucky in this one.
Did you know that actor Terry Crews played football at Western Michigan?
No, that's interesting. Did not know that. That's just interesting fun fact.
Yep. Franklin American Mortgage Music City Bowl, Mississippi State Bulldogs versus Louisville Cardinals.
Louisville. I will go with Louisville in this one.
I will also go with Louisville.
Okay, cool.
It's great audio. All right, can we flip this?
All right, go right ahead, my friend.
All right, Red Box Bowl, California Golden Bears versus the Illinois Fighting Illini. Oh, it's so good to see them here again. Haven't been since my freshman year of college, which was 5 years ago.
Yeah.
ILL.
So yeah, I'll go Illinois as well. I'll rep your team for this one. All right, I got the next two here. Yeah. Capital One Orange Bowl. Florida Gators, Virginia Cavaliers. They could have just knocked Virginia out of the top 25, and we would have had Notre Dame in this game to make it a little bit more interesting. But what do you think?
I'm gonna go with the Gators.
And I'm going Gators as well.
Yep.
The final Belk Bowl. It will be rebranded next year. Virginia Tech versus Kentucky. What do you got?
I'm gonna go with Virginia Tech.
Kentucky. I forget his name. I think it might be Lynn Bowen. That might be incorrect, but he's been like the one-man player for them for a while, or for at least this season. And I think he alone will win this game. so not Kentucky. I'm picking this one player.
All right. Florida State versus Arizona State in the Tony the Tiger Sun Bowl.
That's
not Frosted Flakes. Tony the Tiger.
That's the new rebrand for that bowl.
Earn your stripes, kids.
I'm going Arizona State.
I'm also going Arizona State.
Yep. The AutoZone Liberty Bowl. Navy faces Kansas State. What do you got?
I'll go with Navy.
I will also go Navy as well.
That's a weird mascot name.
The Midshipmen?
Midshipmen.
Because they are.
I guess I could have called them Seamen.
Oh. That
Wyoming Cowboys versus Georgia State Panthers in the Nova Home Loans.
I was going to say that my father was a Navy man, but instead you just said Seaman and then moved on to the next game.
I'm sorry.
No, it's okay. Well, I'm going to go Wyoming.
I'll go Wyoming too.
Okay, wow. The Valero Alamo Bowl. Fun fact: the last football game. Never mind. A college team plays in this. I was gonna say the last professional team to play in that stadium was in the Alliance of American Football, and we all know how that ended.
Rip.
What do you got for this one?
I'll go with the Utes.
I'll go with the Utes as well.
Next up, Michigan Wolverines against Alabama Crimson Tide.
I don't want to, but I'm picking Alabama because they're scary.
Michigan.
This is scary to me.
Here's the thing: Michigan always chokes.
Yeah.
But I won't ever in my life choose Alabama, so Michigan.
Yeah, fair enough.
Like this, like I'm a Michigan fan by Hereditary.
Okay.
By heritage, that's the word.
Yeah.
Michigan fan by heritage.
Okay.
And I just hate Alabama, so it's an easy pick.
Yeah, I fucking hate Alabama too, but
Yeah.
I have to put it aside for this one. Outback Bowl. Between Minnesota and Auburn, also played on Tampa Bay Buccaneers football field. What you got?
This is the one time I'm not going to choose Big Ten. I'm going to go with Auburn because I am an Auburn fan.
I like Auburn as well, and I will
PJ
pick them.
Fleck's an asshole.
Well, all right, Auburn, yeah.
Yep.
Next up.
And the Rose Bowl, the most dignified of all sporting events, presented by Northwestern Mutual. It is the Oregon Ducks versus the Wisconsin Badgers.
Quack.
Badger noise.
Okay. Al State Sugar Bowl between the Georgia Bulldogs and the Baylor Bears. Georgia was here last year and then got their ass surprisingly whooped by the Texas Longhorns. What do you think?
I'll keep with Georgia this year.
I'm gonna say Baylor, just because who knows, shit hits the fan sometimes when it comes to these stupid Big 12 teams. So Baylor. Next up.
Next up, Boston College Eagles versus the Cincinnati Bearcats.
And
the Ticker Smart Birmingham Bowl.
Yeah,
I'm smarter.
Cincinnati Bearcats are the much better team, so I'm gonna go Cincinnati.
Yep, we'll go with Bearcats.
Yeah. The Tax Slater Gator Bowl between the Indiana Hoosiers and the Tennessee Volunteers. We got.
I'll stick Big Ten. Go Indiana.
I'll also stick Big Ten in this one. I'll stick it to them with that little pitchfork.
Ohio Bobcats versus Nevada Wolfpack in the famous Idaho Potato Bowl. Did you know that they give you potatoes at this bowl?
Yes, and it's also the blue field, and
yes,
it's during the day while I'm at work, so I'm very annoyed.
Unfortunate.
Nevada, going Nevada.
Nevada, I will also go Nevada.
All right.
Why do people from New York say Nevada and people from Illinois say Nevada?
I don't know. I think that even the Nevadians fucking don't even know the difference between the two. So who knows?
It messes me up when we're doing table party stuff.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Absolutely. That's true. We have to figure out the accent. Like we have to change our accents to make sure that we all sound like Nevadians, except for Kelsey, because Kelsey's not from Nevada.
Listen to table party.
The Lockheed. The Lockheed, is that Lockheed or Lockheed?
Lockheed.
Martin Armed Forces Bowl. This starts at 11:30. It's because a few hours later is the first NFL playoff game. This is how fucking late the bowl games are this year.
Oh God.
This is what's insane. It's
wow.
This is January 4th that we're talking about.
Yeah.
Southern Miss Golden Eagles, Tulane Green Wave. What do you got?
I like the idea of a green wave as a mascot. It's just the most obscure concept, so I'm gonna choose them.
I think that's exactly the reason why I picked Tulane as well.
It's same thing with Crimson Tide.
Yeah.
But they have an elephant.
Right. No, this is a literal wave. We're not trying to parse words here. It's a fucking wave.
It is a wave, and it is green. Who are you doing?
I said Tulane.
Okay. The Lending Tree Bowl between the Louisiana Raging Cajuns and the Miami of Ohio Redhawks. Is Miami actually a city in Ohio, or is that just what?
No, yeah, there's a city.
That's just what the university's called?
No, I think there is a city.
No, it's in Oxford, Ohio. So they just called it Miami University, even though it's not in Miami, it's in fucking Oxford.
Oh, really? I thought that was actually in Miami, Ohio.
No, there's not.
Huh, well... Interesting. For that reason, I'm picking Louisiana Raging Cajuns.
Yeah, me too, dude.
And last but not least, the CFP National Championship. So this is weird because we have different winners for Clemson and Ohio State. or we could pick LSU together. So what do you got?
Did the 1 seed win last year?
1 seed has never won the playoff.
1 seed has never won, so Ohio State is going to win.
Okay.
Or Clemson. Between Ohio State and Clemson, it's gonna be them.
Okay.
Because the 1 seed just has never won.
Yeah, that's the only reason. I'll go LSU for this one. I'll say that streak gets broken, and that is your bowl game picks. Stay tuned. Watch all the bowl games. If you're off for an entire week like I am, just fucking sit on your ass and watch football all day. It's gonna be great. It's happens all vacation for the next 2 weeks. Enjoy.
It's gonna be fun. I get 2 weeks off.
Yes. You motherfucker.
Teacher life.
So we now move on into the picks. We're up to week 16. It's kind of nuts.
Yeah. Are you ready for playoff clinch scenarios?
Oh yes. I forgot about the clinching stuff. Yes, please do your thing first.
All right, so in the AFC, the Baltimore Ravens, Kansas City Chiefs have clinched their divisions, the North and West respectively. The Bills and the Patriots have both clinched a playoff berth, but either one can still win the division. Baltimore will clinch a first-round bye if they win, or Kansas City loses, or New England loses. One of those three things happens. Baltimore gets a first-round bye. Baltimore gets home field advantage throughout the AFC playoffs if they win, or if KC and New England both lose. Okay. So they get one first overall if New England and KC both lose, or Baltimore just wins.
Yeah.
The Patriots can clinch the AFC East if they win, and they can clinch a first-round bye if they win and Kansas City loses. All right. The Texans can win the AFC South if they win or Tennessee loses, and then they clinch a playoff berth if Pittsburgh loses. Those are all the clinching scenarios for the AFC.
Okay.
In the NFC, the New Orleans Saints are currently the only division champions who have clinched. However, the Packers, the 49ers, and the Seahawks have all clinched playoff berths. The Green Bay Packers will clinch the North if they win. Dallas will clinch the NFC East if they win. And Minnesota will clinch a playoff berth if they win or Los Angeles loses. So a lot of things on the line, particularly the division wins. But in the AFC, the first round bye stuff is very, very dicey still. It's probably going to be Baltimore, but it could still not be New England, or it could be Buffalo, depending on how the past couple weeks work out.
Yeah, there's a lot.
Meanwhile, in the NFC, the top three seeds right now are wide open.
Yeah,
it could go any combination of those three.
Well, here's the thing, and what's kind of nuts is
those
that
four.
Yeah, the four of them could be interchanged in any which way, shape, or form. Basically, amongst like the first, second, third,
1, 2, and fifth,
and then fifth. Yeah, so it's wild. They also anything can happen, anything weird can happen. And the playoff clinching scenarios are fun, and I love them very much. I love when I can get to the point where I can write out realistic wild card matchups. And so real quick, I'm just going to run through them. The NFC 5-4 matchup is either going to be hosted by either the Cowboys or the Eagles, just because both they've been so bad that the NFC East is just not going to move out of the 4 seed. And the opponents, there's 3 potential opponents for the NFC East team: the Seahawks, the Niners, or the Vikings. So good luck in the NFC East.
Yep.
Meanwhile, the 5-4, essentially the AFC East has clinched the 5 seed. So
yep.
Buffalo will remain in that spot, and the Patriots will remain in that spot if they don't win their division. The potential matchups for that, the 5 seed would go to Houston, Kansas City, Tennessee, or if it's the Bills, they can go to New England in this matchup.
Gotcha.
The 6-3 is a lot more complicated, but just to try to simplify it as much as possible, more than likely the 6 seed would be either the Vikings or the Rams, and their potential matchups are the Saints, Packers, Seahawks, or Niners. The Packers, Niners, and Seahawks also have a chance at being the 6th seed if the Vikings, do well enough to be a 5, and that. And their matchups would be Packers would face either Vikings or Saints, and Niners and Seahawks would face either the Packers or the Saints. And finally, the AFC 6 at 3. More than likely, it's going to be either the Steelers, the Titans, or the Texans. And you have the Steelers at Chiefs. The potential teams that we would play against are the Chiefs, Texans, Titans, Patriots, Ravens, and Bills for the Steelers. And obviously, Titans and Texans would not play themselves, so you could take that out. Now, here's the wild thing, though. The Browns and Raiders still have a playoff path.
Do they?
They do, and so.
Oh my god!
So here's how it plays out for you. The Colts, they're going to be the biggest Indianapolis Colts fans in the next 2 weeks. They need the Colts to win out. If the Panthers win out, I'm sorry, the Colts have to beat the Panthers.
Yep.
And they have to beat the Jaguars. Not the most ridiculous scenario. Then the Steelers and Titans have to lose out. They have to go 8-8. And, of course, the Browns would have to win out. We're going to just focus on the Browns for a second. The Browns will have to win out. And if they do that, they're in the playoffs because of a tiebreaker with the Colts.
Oh, man.
Now, just the same exact scenario, only in this scenario, the Raiders win out and the Browns lose at least one more game. The Raiders would be in the playoffs. So there is still a scenario, and just in case you're curious, they would face either the Chiefs, Texans, Patriots, or Bills in that playoff matchup. So,
wow, okay.
That is your wild scenario that could still happen as of today, but you never know.
That's probably not going to be the case after this weekend.
Probably won't, but weird shit's happened before.
Yeah.
We now move on to the picks. Last week, I went 10-6, and Matt went 9-7. And so I gained at least a little bit of ground on the situation. If you didn't see on Twitter, I made the last effort, essentially, to save my guarantee this week, because I started losing confidence in the Steelers. Not enough to pick against them, but I decided to move it onto the Dolphins, who ended up getting Devontae Parker. That didn't work out. So,
nope.
But I was saved by my Team Chaos and the Cardinals, so I did not lose any points this week. And Matt pretty much had a normal week, got his guarantee, didn't get his Chaos. So it is. What do you got?
How do you turn the ball over that much, Chargers? I was so frustrated watching that fucking game. I'm sorry.
It was that's why I was like, I liked the pick. I felt like the Chargers had like a little bit, they showed something against the Jaguars, but I felt like the Vikings are getting vastly I feel the Vikings are getting vastly underrated.
Yeah, I agree.
I think that they're not playing amazing, but I think that's what happened.
I wasn't expecting that many turnovers. Phillip Rivers and Melvin Gordon. My God.
Yeah, they're not great. So currently the standings are 135-88. I have a -3 qualifier, so I'm at 44 points. Matt is at 132.91 with -4 qualifier, putting him at 37 points. So it's a 7-point deficit at the moment.
Which is gonna be tough.
It's gonna be tough, but hey, it would be fun. I won't say I'm like against this idea of you just having like this amazing comeback in the last 2 weeks. It could happen. 7 points is not a lot. It's not a lot. You think about it. Like you just have a few games.
I need to pick enough different from you.
Right.
Our minds are so similar that we go to similar places, especially this far in the season.
But one thing I will always just remind, and I would do the same thing in my situation if I was down. Like, don't force yourself into a situation where you know it's going to turn bad for you, because if you gamble too much, then you have a even further deficit.
But like the thing with that is like losing by the amount of points I am now is still losing by like if I furthered the deficit.
Right. No, I completely understand.
And we're at the point where I need to like just make more decisions. I'm not going to pick the fucking Dolphins against the Patriots.
No, yes,
as an example. But
yeah, we'll see.
Like, yeah, I may be a little more purposely contrarian these last couple weeks because I want to win.
You want to win, right? Okay.
Yeah.
All right. So with that being said, I will start with the Houston Texans at Tampa Bay Buccaneers. Bucs are down both of their star wide receivers. but they have a chance to make the AFC South race very interesting. Texans, like you said earlier, could win and get the division if they beat the Buccaneers. What do you got?
Honestly, if Evans or Godwin were healthy, I would have gone with the Buccaneers. But I just don't trust like the total stuff from Tampa Bay's offense to do it without those two pieces. So I'm going to stay with the Texans, who I still feel confident on destroying the Tampa Bay secondary.
Yeah, I feel like that is a big obstacle to overcome. They were able to really take it to the Lions in the end, but I don't think you're gonna have the same luck against a Texans playoff team potentially. So I'm going Texans as well.
Yep.
All right. Next
Buffalo
up.
Bills take on the New England Patriots in Foxborough. If the Bills win, they will be tied for first place in the division. New England probably has a tiebreaker.
Yeah. So essentially what happens is if next week the Patriots beat the Dolphins, it's over.
Yeah. But they would still be tied for the division, which is wild.
Yes.
For the NFC East, for AFC East standards.
Yes, it is, man. Yes, it is.
How do you think this is going to go?
I hate picking Patriots games. This is especially this year because I know they're bad, but at the same time, like I can't doubt them until it's fucking over. So I'm going. It's so frustrating to me. I want to pick the Bills in this one, but I'm picking the Patriots in this one. I'm no guarantee or no nothing on this one. I'm just picking the Patriots.
I'm gonna pick the Bills.
Team Chaos.
Team Chaos.
Yeah.
Second time in the season, I'm Team Chaos. The Bills against the Patriots.
Yes.
It almost worked out for me the first time.
Oh, absolutely.
And it was really close.
Yeah.
And the Patriots offense honestly has gotten worse.
Definitely.
And obviously the defense is great, and it's going to be in Foxborough. But the with what the Bills defense was able to do in Pittsburgh last week, and just what I've seen from them, I trust the Bills defense a lot.
The only good thing about the Patriots offense has been that they've not turned over the ball, but with Buffalo, not guaranteed that they I think could really dominate this team. I could see it happening, but it's New England, so who knows. Next up, Los Angeles Rams at San Francisco 49ers. A big win for the Niners, trying to keep pace with the Seahawks for the NFC West title. What do you think is going to happen? Oh, and the Rams, of course, they need this win in order to stay in the playoff picture. What do you got?
Yep. I'm going to stick with the 49ers. It's they had a weird week last week, but their defense was really injured, and I think the Falcons are trying to do weird things to save Dan Quinn's job. I trust this 49ers team too much.
Yeah, I do too, and I've been really trying to trust them for a lot of the season, and that's why I'm guaranteeing them against this Los Angeles Rams team, because I very much think that the Rams showed who they are last week, and I don't think they're going to take care of business. So I'm going Niners in this one. I'm guaranteeing it. Next up.
Awesome. Jacksonville Jaguars take on the Atlanta Falcons, two teams who kind of started off in vastly different places, now moving in different directions, finding themselves at the same spot. Who do you got?
I think the Falcons are going to win. I think the Jaguars won last week because the Raiders got a bad call against them, and really that should have been the Raider win, but Gardner Minshew's playing decently, but I trust the Falcons more at this point.
Yeah, I think the Falcons have really stepped up, and I really do think that they're trying to save Dan Quinn's job.
Yeah.
I don't know if you would really want to, but I don't know. I'm still going to go with the Falcons, and I'm going to guarantee them.
Did you were like, do you want to pick the Jaguars?
Yeah, no.
No.
Take the Falcons, and I'm going to guarantee them.
Yeah, I'm very confident in the Falcons in this one. Next up, the Cincinnati Bengals take on the Miami Dolphins. The race for the number one seed's on, baby. You have this matchup. You have the Giants Redskins next, at the same time, actually. So very fun, interesting, different reality with those two games compared to everything else that's happening. What do you think is gonna happen here?
No joke, I'm picking the Bengals because I think I saw what Xavier Howard had like knee surgery.
The I don't know. He's been on IR for a bit, I think.
Yeah. So the Dolphins don't have any defensive players, and Andy Dalton is at least a little bit competent.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm gonna choose the Bengals.
Yeah. Well, you wanted to defer.
Yeah.
I'll go Dolphins in this one. It was, and I don't really think that there's a lot here. I don't know. I don't really. I think that the Bengals will probably win, but I'm going with the Dolphins just because I think that there is. I think that the Bengals secretly want to have their second win of the season. I think they only want to get to 2 wins, and I think they kind of want it against the Browns. So that's why I'm going to go with the Dolphins in this one. Just come on, you want to beat your Ohio rival at least once in this lost season. Who cares about the Dolphins? Let them beat up on you.
Also, they're getting John Ross back. The Bengals.
Yeah. Next up,
Baltimore Ravens take on the Cleveland Browns. One of the Baltimore's only 2 losses this season. It's a revenge game in Cleveland.
Yeah. Ravens are gonna put up 60. I'm going with the Ravens.
I really hope so. That would really help me. You know why? Because I have fucking Lamar Jackson and Mark Andrews in my fantasy championships.
There you go.
That would make me so happy.
Let's just see this complete wall up here, Ravens.
Please, Lamar Jackson 40 points, put me out of my anxiety.
Are you picking the Ravens as well?
I'm picking the Ravens. Of course, I'm picking the Ravens.
Well, you didn't really clearly say, so I just wanted to clarify. Yeah. You know, Mr. Contrarian. You know.
Shut up.
I'm just saying.
I'm kidding.
Next, am I doing this one? I forget. Yes.
Yeah.
New Orleans Saints at Tennessee Titans. Titans coming off a tough loss, but man, they tried to come back against the Texans. And now the Saints, man, they had the time of their lives with Drew Brees breaking 2 records, I think, in one night. I think that's what happened in that game.
Michael Thomas broke a record too.
Yeah, it's just a record-breaking night. What do you think's gonna happen in this one?
They gotta get Michael Thomas that receiving record, dude.
They gotta. They're getting close.
They gotta.
10 receptions, I believe, is where we're at.
He can totally do it, and I would feel a little more comfortable with Tennessee, but Derrick Henry hasn't been practicing, and that's a no-no. So I'm going Saints.
Let me look up something real quick. I need to see with Derrick Henry. I'm
pretty sure he was a DNP.
Yes, but he's
been
DNP in a few games. He was a DNP last week too. Like the thing is with Derrick Henry, he's been like sitting out, and then like he comes in like during the last practice.
He did not practice at all today though, and it's Thursday.
It is Thursday. I think that happened last week too.
Okay.
I know. And he's been dealing with an injury though. I'm gonna, you know what? Just for the sake of fanfare here, I'm gonna team chaos the Titans. I just think.
Fuck.
I think this is just where I am standing. I find that this Titans team I think that they were really thinking that they could win that game. I think that they could have won that game, but it just didn't end up working out well. And I think part of it too was that their secondary has been beat up. And especially with Michael Thomas coming in, that's going to be a problem. I don't know. I actually have not really seen any other updates on their secondary, but I just think that there's something that can happen with the Saints sometimes where they go up against the opponent you don't expect them to lose to, and then they do. And even though they've been playing great and they really took care of the Colts, the Titans are just a different animal here. And so I'm gonna go with the Titans in the team chaos scenario. So there you go.
Honestly, if Derrick Henry was completely healthy, I would have gone Titans too. Next matchup, Carolina Panthers, Indianapolis Colts. Colts coming off of a smothering, and Carolina Panthers not looking hot at all. Yeah. And starting Will Grier.
Yeah. This one, it is the toughest one I think to pick. I'm going to go home team in the Colts. I think that I think that at the end of the day, I think the Colts were just an average team this year. I think that they could put away the Panthers in this one.
I think so too. I wanted to like ride the like when Kyle Allen started last year, he lit up the second team of the Saints, but I can't. I'm gonna stick with the Colts.
Yeah. So the next one is, this one means a lot to me here. The Giants at the Redskins. Again for the number 2 seed at this point. What
What do you pick?
What do you think is gonna number 2 pick?
Yeah.
To me, it's seeding because that's just the reality I live in at this point.
Yeah.
What do you think is gonna happen?
I'm actually gonna go with Washington.
I'm gonna go Washington too. I want Chase Young.
What?
I want Chase Young.
You want Chase Young?
I want Chase Young.
Like New York just lost Janoris Jenkins, for a good reason, but
Of course.
there's no secondary in New York or like any defensive player. So I think Dwayne Haskins and Terry McLaurin and Adrian Peterson will have a nice day.
Yeah.
Next up.
Real quick, I just want to looks like I said earlier about Henry. It looks like that he was limited in practice on Wednesday. Then he sat on Thursday, just as a advice from doctors. But it does sound like he is, or at least if he wants to play. But it sounds like he will be leaning towards playing on Sunday. Just throwing it out there.
I'm gonna stick with Saints.
Yeah, go for it, man. Got follow that line of being different. You know.
Yep.
At the end of the day. Next up,
Pittsburgh Steelers take on the New York Jets. Pittsburgh trying to keep in the playoffs. For Le'Veon Bell, it's a revenge game.
Yeah.
Will Le'Veon Bell get his revenge?
No.
Absolutely not. Absolutely not.
Steelers it is.
Yep.
And they'll move to 9-6, and let's just hope that like maybe they get knocked out last minute, and then we don't have to see the Steelers team in the playoffs. But yeah, Steelers. Next up, The Lions at the Broncos. Drew Lock coming off of his first loss in the NFL. Lions haven't even won since like end of October, beginning of November.
They were 3-3-1 at one point.
Oh wait, they haven't won since early October. Never mind. So, what do you think's gonna happen?
They're gonna continue that streak. There was something funny I saw. It was like, I was like, oh, Matthew Stafford may be able to come back, and then Lions organization announced that they're gonna keep Matt Patricia out for another year, and he was like, okay, Stafford, I don't need you. You can go on IR. Goodbye. Rest up for next year.
Oh my God.
I'm going Broncos.
Yeah, I'm going Broncos here as well. Yeah, it's just they're the better team at the moment. Next up,
we have the Oakland Raiders and the Los Angeles Chargers. A battle of middling AFC West teams, one of which I guess can still make the playoffs. I'm still angry about that. What do you think is going to happen?
Angry about playoff scenarios. I think between the two, I'll pick the Chargers in this one. I think just because I think that the Raiders are going to be really deflated from how their Oakland home season ended. And I don't think that they're gonna really think they have a shot at the playoffs. I don't think they're gonna play like it either. So I'm going Chargers.
I'm gonna be contrarian.
Yeah, there you
go. Because I had the Raiders, already decided. Josh Jacobs isn't gonna play, which is a bummer. But I'm still like expecting a relatively good offense. They still have Darren Waller. DeAndre Washington played well in Jacobs' absence. Mm-hmm. And the Chargers Philip Rivers likes to give the other team the ball recently.
Yes.
So
he's very, very charitable.
So does Melvin Gordon. So I'm going to stick with the Raiders.
Yeah. Okay.
See if I can catch up in points.
Yes. Next up, it's the Cowboys. It's the Eagles. And it's your NFC East championship, essentially, because Cowboys can clinch it with a win. And the Eagles can win this game and then beat Washington, I think, to clinch it for themselves. What do you think's gonna happen?
I hate this matchup.
Or I'm sorry, beat New York. I forgot they play New York next week. So
Yeah. I hate this. Philly doesn't have any wide receivers. But Dallas is on the road, and Dak's injured. God, I don't know. It's going to depend on if Dak plays for me. If Dak, like, I don't want to do one of those things, but
well,
like it literally does depend. Like if Dak doesn't play, I'm picking the Eagles. If Dak plays, I'll pick the Cowboys.
So according to everything, he's been limited in practice today, and he's saying that he'll be good to go on Sunday for the Eagles game.
Okay, I will stick. Even if he's not 100%, I'll still go with Cowboys.
Okay, I'm going Cowboys as well because I saw what happened last week against the Rams. Seems like the Cowboys kind of found themselves a little bit, and I just look at this Eagles team, and they're just barely beating these teams. Like something has to give in this matchup. Like something has to give between these two teams. One of these teams has to win the division. And I just think the Cowboys have shown that they could take care of things a lot more than the Eagles. So I'm going to Cowboys in this one as well.
All right. Arizona Cardinals, Seattle Seahawks. Seattle, just like the 49ers, trying to fight and keep that top of the food chain status. How's this going to go?
Gotta go Seahawks.
You gotta go Seahawks.
Gotta go Seahawks in this one.
You just gotta.
No question about it.
I want Week 17 to decide the division.
Yeah, no way. Absolutely. We can't. Well, I mean, even it wouldn't as much. What matters more is that San Francisco wins. I think that's what really. I think that's the most important thing is that they take care of the Rams. Right. But if the Niners win, the Seahawks lose, Seahawks can still win the division next week in that matchup. So I think we're pretty safe, but we'll see. So I'm going Seahawks. Next up, the Kansas City Chiefs at Chicago Bears in Sunday Night Football. Saints Titans was being considered for this Sunday night slate. I don't really know why they didn't move it. I guess the only thing was the Titans lost, but the Titans are still trying to compete for a playoff berth, so I don't know. But there's the Bears. What do you got?
The Bears. Chiefs are gonna win.
I think the
Bears are out of playoff contention. They got nothing to play for. Mm-hmm. Chiefs might still be trying to get a first round bye.
Yeah. No, you have to go with the Chiefs. They've been playing probably their best football they have all season. I think they're playing at the high. And certainly, I think Patrick Mahomes, he played fucking amazing in the snow.
Yeah, he did.
So it's gotta go Kansas City in this one.
Yep. And lastly, Green Bay Packers, Minnesota Vikings on Monday night. In Minnesota, which makes a difference with NFC North teams. Yeah. How do you think this one's going to go? Green Bay trying to clinch the division, Minnesota trying to maintain their playoff status.
Yeah, I mean, I think at this point Vikings should be clinched. I mean, obviously it depends on what the Rams do.
Yeah.
This has been a tough one to think about, but I just think that when you, again, I was saying this earlier, you look at the last 4 weeks, and I don't think you could convince me that this Packers team was 11-3, based solely on if you watch the last 4 games. They have looked awful on both sides of the ball. They've taken care of the team of 3 poor teams at this point. And the Bears, you could give credit to the Bears that they were able to go on a little bit of a run. But in that game,
the Bears are not a good team right now.
Right, and the Packers were neck and neck with them, and they were neck and neck with the Giants at one point, and the Redskins. They were kind of playing close with. In fact, I think the Redskins were leading at some points in that game.
They were. They definitely were.
I don't trust this Packers team. I am liking what I'm seeing from Minnesota. I'm going to go with them.
I'm gonna go to. I was thinking about just like when I started the podcast, I was gonna be like, you know what? Whatever Chris picks, I'm gonna pick the other one to be contrarian. But we already have four disagreements, so I think that's enough for me. So I'm gonna go with Minnesota too.
Yeah, I think that's fair. It's because I just think that Aaron Rodgers can have his moment, no question. But I just think that the Vikings have been playing as a better team right now, and in both sides of the ball. And Kirk Cousins having a great season too. I know it's primetime Kirk Cousins, but I think it's gonna happen. I think he's gonna take care of it.
I think he's shed that a little bit.
Yes, I agree. I think.
Yeah.
I think that the whole focusing on Kirk Cousins so much, we could probably strive off that a little bit now, because I think he's proven that he's one of the best quarterbacks in the league, at least top 10 best in terms of quarterbacking. So, yeah. All right. So, what is our 4 disagreements?
I believe that would be the Bills Patriots.
That was your chaos.
The Bengals Dolphins, which was just a disagreement.
Yes.
Saints Titans, which is your chaos.
Yes, it is.
And then Raiders Chargers.
Okay. All right.
So those will absolutely determine my fate. If I get all of them right, I actually might be in the lead.
Yes, you would be.
Yeah.
Because it's an 8-point swing. Plus the fact that it's team chaos, so that would be
chaos, right?
That would have been 9 points in your favor.
Chaoses are important in this case.
And we got 2 guarantees that are not don't have any disagreements attached to them, but they are significant in terms of just how point totals go. So yeah, so 6 games. 6 games matter. Big time for us in this picking competition going 4. Into this week. Well, I'm counting the guarantees.
Oh, the guarantees, yeah.
That will matter in the picking competition.
Yep. And that will either decide if it's close between us or if I'm screwed. And next week is just a wash for us both.
Yeah, well, that's the thing that I think we were always hopeful for, is that like it comes down to the wire in the last week. So like for people who don't know, like we do pick games in the playoffs, but we don't carry over the competition necessarily into the playoffs. It kind of the whole team chaos resets. Guarantees. We reset, right? Exactly. Yeah. We reset when it comes to the playoffs. So we're in the penultimate episode of our picking competition. And our finale will be week 17, which that's always fucked. That way we have that it's kind of like with fantasy, where it's like you can't really play fantasy in week 17 because you have all these players that are sitting, and it's gonna be the same exact situation, because you're like, will the Ravens sit against the Steelers? And if that's the case, will the Steelers win? Like, that's like, it's the worst.
If you play your fantasy championships in week 17, you're doing it wrong, and you need an intervention with your commissioner. Because I just look, like, if you're in the championship, you probably have Lamar Jackson this year.
Yeah.
Or you're facing someone who has Lamar Jackson.
Right.
And Lamar Jackson is for sure sitting next week.
Absolutely.
So.
Yeah.
You don't get to play the players you've been playing all season with. And this is not fun. Have your championships week 16. Root for me. Root specifically for the following players. I'm just going to read off my championship lineup. Because I'm super proud of this fucking team. Lamar Jackson, Allen Robinson, DeAndre Hopkins, Tyler Boyd, Christian McCaffrey, DeAndre Washington, Mark Andrews, and Christian Kirk. Root for them on Sunday.
What's like the projection? Do they have those with fantasy?
Yes.
Apps?
So I'm projected to 125. My opponent's projected to 109.
Oh wow! So
it's a nice projection, but it doesn't feel high enough. Because my opponent has Drew
it'll
Brees.
Never feel high enough.
My opponent has Drew Brees and Julio Jones.
Oh wait,
and also picked up Brashad Perriman, who is going to be Tampa Bay's number 1.
Ooh, yeah, it's tough.
And also picked up Mike Boone, who could be Minnesota's number 1.
Yeah, that is tough because
But you got to play a game with Mike Boone.
Saints are playing.
Monday night.
Saints are playing a injured secondary. Falcons are playing a bad secondary.
I know.
That's tough. So all right, it might be a little bit closer here. Sorry to nerve wrack you, but that's.
Chris, I'm terrified for this weekend. Thankfully, though, like at least at the moment, he has his tight end in his flex spot, so I hope he just keeps it there and fucks up like everything. And that Gerald Everett plays, because he's playing Tyler Higbee, and if Gerald Everett plays, Higbee's not at play.
Yeah, no.
Not a good play.
I don't think so. All right. Yeah. And so, as you also may know, if you're a consistent follower with this podcast, you would know that we are switching things up a little bit. We're going to be recording on Thursdays, uploading on Fridays. So that's why we got the late upload this week, and that'll be consistent throughout basically the rest of this season through the Super Bowl, just because it works out better for scheduling purposes, for me at least, and you are able to figure out your schedule as well. It kind of just helps us too with picking, even though we did have to question a few of the injured players, because we have a better idea of like what the situations are for these teams, because like when we do film these podcasts, it's like, all right, we're coming right off of the week, let's pick the games for next week automatically. It's like I don't know. So it just works out better. So I'm looking forward to the Friday podcast. It makes it a lot more fun.
Yeah.
For
my
us.
work schedule is going to be weird in January, because I was trying to like give myself availability to let me watch as many playoff games as possible, but also not to crowd my weeknights.
Right. Yeah.
So it may be a little weird, and I'll be in touch with you about,
of course,
what that actually is going to look like.
Yeah.
For me.
Yeah, and I think the big thing that I only hope for is that you do try to watch playoff games. And if you can't watch it live, I just ask if you could DVR it if you have the space available allotted to you. At least
we'll talk on podcasts like the specific stuff. I don't need to
of course
air out my entire work schedule.
No, air out where you work, exact times that you work. No, all right. So, a Table Party new episode. I thought the new episode came out? Did it?
I don't know.
Okay, so we don't know. Maybe you should go to check at the Table Party on Twitter. Just check it out. And I did end up helping Matt set things up for iTunes, so potentially it'll be approved for iTunes soon. If it is on
Spotify. Just search Table Party.
Yes.
Episode 0 and episode 1 are on there.
Yeah. So that is all kind of come together there. And yeah, we're looking forward to the new year and everything like that. But guys, thank you all so much for listening. Oh, Table Party is on iTunes now. I'm subscribing to them. Yes, me too. Yeah, it is on iTunes. So if you prefer, if Apple Podcasts is your preferred listening method, it's there. Currently, it's still episode 0 and episode 1. So keep on tabs on that. Thank you all so much for listening. Enjoy all the football. See you next week.
Good night and good ball. Virtual Ball Boys has been brought to you by Team Chaos Productions. Find us on Twitter at Virtual Ball Boys and find more of our work at Team Chaos Pods.